Hey guys, what's up? Today in the Brick Lab we are going to be unfocusing the Arc Dragon of Focus. Now I have to be honest with you, at this point I'm really not sure what exactly this dragon is. We saw it for like 30 seconds in the intro to Season 3, so I don't know if this is one half purple half tan dragon with two heads, or if this is just a purple dragon and a tan dragon mashed together for story reasons. I'm guessing that's probably the likely explanation, and what I'd really like to do is rip this dragon in half and see if we can make one purple dragon and one tan dragon. You may remember that a few years ago during Hands of Time I did something similar with Kyanea's fusion dragon. I just bought 2 copies of the set that it came in and created a red dragon and a blue dragon, and it turned out pretty well, so I'm really hoping that we can do the same thing here. Of course, I do see the whole head situation on this dragon being a little bit of a challenge just because these heads are built around a Technic frame, and it might be hard to wedge a head in the center of those. So first up, let's take a look at some of the features that this set has. So first of all, and most importantly, we have some flapping wings. Those look pretty good. I'll probably end up leaving them as is. Next up, we have this tail here, and I really want to change that. I can't stand the hinges that LEGO uses on the tails for these dragons, so definitely gonna swap that out for some ball joint pieces. Next up we have the back legs here, and those don't move at all. You can get some posability out of the feet, but the hips, they're not going anywhere, and I'd really like to change that because what kind of dragon can't move its back legs? That's just not right. And that brings us to the front legs, which are pretty much perfect. I'm not going to change a thing on those other than the colors. I really love the joint that they use for the shoulders here, and I really wish that I'd had that back when I was designing my dragon for the Time Twins, because that would have helped make that dragon just a little bit sturdier. Most of the changes that we'll be making are going to be obviously the color swaps, so let's go ahead and see what we can come up with. Alright, and here we go. We have our 2 dragons, one purple, one tan. Now these things are too big to show at the same time, so I'm just gonna show them off one by one. And we'll start with the purple because that one is my favorite. The tan one, it's great too, but purple, I like it just a tiny bit better. So let's go ahead and take a look, starting with the tail and working our way up. So first of all, we have the tail, and as promised, there are no more of those loose hinges. Instead, we have these nice socket pieces, which add just a whole bunch of posability to the tail. I also did add in an extra tail segment because I thought that it needed it, and honestly, it could have used one more, but by using just 2 tail segment pieces, I was able to mostly stick with parts that were included in the 2 sets. Unfortunately, I did have to use some pieces that weren't included in the 2 sets, but they're pretty common pieces, so you shouldn't have any problems finding them. Next up, we have the back legs with their new hip joint pieces. I'm glad to see that this dragon is handling his hip replacement very well. I honestly thought that the LEGO designers gave him stiff hips just because they were afraid of the stability, like the dragon might fall over or something. But I've put this thing in some pretty weird poses, and I mean, it's fine, it's stable. I've had this thing built a couple weeks now, and there aren't any issues. I'm not really sure what the designers were thinking there, if anything at all. Next up we have the wings, and again, didn't really change a thing here. That function still works flawlessly. You can see a couple more of the color changes here. We have purple on both sides. And of course the front legs, which, like I said, I didn't change a thing other than color swapping them because they're pretty much perfect anyway. And that brings us to my favorite part of the set, and that is the single head. Now this was a bit of a building challenge, and there were a couple points in this process where I thought, it might be easier just to do a 2-headed purple dragon and a 2-headed tan dragon, but in the end, with just a little bit of ingenuity and using some of the extra pieces left over from the duplicate heads, I was able to cobble this thing together, and I have to say, it looks even better than I was expecting. Of course, it does help that I'm using the extra dragon head here as some additional plate armor on the neck, but all in all, I have to say, I am very happy with the way it turned out. So that said, let's take a look at the tan dragon. And that guy's going to be pretty much the same other than some color swapping around. I guess I don't have to go through all the same intricate details because you should have already seen them on the purple dragon. The one thing I would like to highlight on the back though is that I was able to use the joint pieces from the set on the hips here, so you don't need to use extra of those. And then again, moving on up to the head and the neck, you can see that that turned out pretty well. In fact, the tan dragon was the first one that I switched out, and that worked successfully, so that was kind of the base that I built the purple one around, and I have to say, it looks even better on the tan one as far as I'm concerned, because then you get an extra splash of gold. But yeah, that's all that I have for these 2 dragons here. I was going to do a step-by-step build tutorial in this video, but I kind of ran out of time, so if that's something that you'd like to see, just let me know in the comments below, and I will see what I can do. Alright, that is it for now. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that other good stuff, and we will see you next time.